Joining me right now, Dr. Priti Panchal, and she is an optometric physician with the Eye Institute of West Florida. Doctor, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate
So
it.
we got the big solar eclipse, and I don't know how many thousand times we have to warn people not to look at it, but
Yes.
some people do. That's not good, is it?
Not good at all. Not good at all.
So let's talk about the basics. What protects your eyes from the sun's rays getting into the point where they can do damage?
Well, sunglasses on a daily basis are fine.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the solar eclipse, you're looking at a more powerful kind of sun in a sense. So it's really important that you use the proper protection when it comes to the solar eclipse. I've actually had a lot of patients come to me and ask me, oh, well, I'm just going to get a dark pair of sunglasses, or, oh, this is just a hoax.
Yeah.
And you have to let them know, like, no, it's not. This can actually damage the eye.
When you say it's more powerful, I mean, the sun's rays are not more powerful, but the fact that you're looking at them and thinking it's safe, right?
Correct. Well, the reason, think about it. If you are out on a sunny day and you look up at the sun, you look away right away.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the way our eyes work, as far as protecting our eyes, when it's bright outside, the pupils constrict.
Sure.
That's our kind of protective mechanism, so allowing less light to come in. And when it's dim or dark outside, they dilate, allowing more light to come in, allowing you to see better. So whenever the solar eclipse is happening, things are going to be more dim.
Right.
So the pupils are actually going to be a little more dilated, not as constricted, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
when people are looking at the sun, it's actually allowing more sun to come in, therefore, in a sense, feeling more powerful and giving more damage.
Now, I wonder if is there any statistics to say whether it's worse in an area where you have the total obfuscation, I guess is what they call it, the obfuscation rate.
Right.
Is it worse in those areas or worse in our area where we're going to have between 83 and 85% oculation?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know the exact answer to that question, but I do know that when it comes to the proper sunglasses or the proper filters that should be worn, in our Tampa Bay area, they should be worn complete, like the entire time.
Yeah, treat it like that.
Correct, because there are some places where they, it's called the route of totality, I guess they're calling it, where you can take those filters off or glasses off for about 2.5 minutes.
They'll even let you do that. Ooh.
Yeah, so it's whenever the moon will completely cover
so
the
you
sun.
have the corona of the sun around the outside, but it's dark.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's the only time that you can actually take those glasses off, view it, but you have to put the glasses back on.
So let's at least go through what some people think that they can do to get rid of it.
Yes.
Okay, and some of these they're even beyond me.
Okay.
One
I'm
was
excited to hear this.
Wear 2 pair of sunglasses.
No.
Well, first of all, how do you get 2 pair of sunglasses?
Great question. I guess you could, because if you have a pair of glasses and
then
you put a
over
bigger
right.
pair of glasses, it could work.
That does not work, right?
No, it does not
Also, some people used to say, and back in my day, they would say, oh, just take an old x-ray, because actually you've got to touch those things.
Correct.
And I go, that isn't enough either. That doesn't work.
That's not.
But the pinhole in the box, anytime you can see the reflection, the mirror reflection of what's going on, it's all right. So what does it physically damage in your eye?
Yeah, great question. So there's a couple of things as eye providers that we are concerned about when it comes to the solar eclipse. And it's actually one of them is known as solar retinopathy. So essentially what it is a photochemical toxicity to the back of the eye, the retina, which allows us to visualize, and mainly in the foveal area. The fovea is where you kind of see your fine-tuned vision when you're threading a needle, looking at something in detail.
No, wait, I thread a needle and I have a hard time seeing the needle, okay?
Well,
I've had LASIK so I can see everything out 5,000 miles,
right.
but the last 3 feet get tough.
Oh,
okay.
That's a different story. So that's really what you're concerned about. And a lot of patients, what will happen is they'll come in with decreased vision, blind spots. Some patients will notice dyschromatopsia, which is changes in color vision, metamorphopsia, which is distortion in lines, or wavy lines or distortion, excuse me.
Yeah.
Micropsia, which things look a little smaller, or frontal and temporal headaches.
Now, I also know that there are official glasses that you can use, and I know that they have an official seal on them because I've actually seen some in the Tampa Bay area driving around, won't say where, but I looked at that and I go, wait a minute, I put that up there and I could still see everything through there.
Yeah, yeah. There is a a list of vendors I know on the nasa.gov website.
Right. By the way, that's a great website for everything that's going on with this.
It's a wonderful
and
website.
even better is watch us on Bay News 9 because we've got something really cool planned for you that you're really gonna like the way we're gonna cover that whole thing.
Right.
So
right.
how often do you actually see a patient that has this kind of sun damage and not associated with an eclipse, but just that kind of damage?
Not very often.
Right. So it is rare.
Right. It is rare because you really don't look at.
Okay.
Again, you can't stare at the sun.
Now that I have an eye doctor here, I have to ask you something else. Okay.
Okay.
Just spent my 41st anniversary with my wife.
Okay.
On Anna Maria Island watching the sun go down, and we got into this conversation. What happens when people look at the sun when it's going down? Because I know a lot of people do.
Cloudy, whenever it's a little cloudy, it's not as bad. It's not as bad.
But
because your pupils are a little more constricted, still allowing protection to the eyes.
So you can look at it without going blind.
Yeah. And think about it. Are you really? I mean, it's far away. It's a little more dusk. It's not as strong.
That's right. It's on the horizon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why it's okay.
And usually, don't your eyes kind of tell you, hey, you've had too much sun?
Definitely. I mean, you can feel it. You know, you can almost feel your eyes burn. I feel like at times, right? I mean, there are. Okay. Well, with that being said, there are people that on certain drugs or something, or
that you're
things like that,
more sensitive to that kind of thing,
or that they will stare at it. And those patients will come in with some sort of solar retinopathy.
So let's say you've got somebody out there right now that they do the unthinkable and they look at it a little bit longer than they should. What should they do? Should they come to you immediately?
Well, so if they're having blind spots, two things. So one is the solar retinopathy that we're worried about.
Right.
Second is photokeratitis, and that happens whenever people are skiing, from the reflection of the sun, things like that. Or from the water, things like that. That is more painful. So people actually have like a burning sensation, a pain to their eyes, redness to the eyes, irritation to the eyes. So those patients are more likely to come in. Mm-hmm. However, when it comes to solar retinopathy, it's really spontaneous resolution. So usually their spontaneous resolution happens between 1 and 6 months. But a lot of patients can be left with permanent blind spots. And that's why it's so important to understand.
And that's why we're here to tell you to take it seriously, folks. It's not a joking matter.
Take it seriously.
There are plenty of television outlets, Bay News 9. We're going to be there to show you this thing as it flies all over the country, and we have those dark spots. And I know that there's a guy up in North Carolina that's selling 3,000 spots in a field, and he's selling them for $100 each. And they get a 3-foot square to sit in a chair and watch it. And hope we don't have a cloudy day. Doctor, thank you so much. Great information.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.